On this episode of Canada's Worst Driver, emotions take over.
Honest to God, this is driving me completely crazy.
Our drivers experience sadness, humiliation, and severe denial.
I think we're improving.
They make a mess going forward, backwards, and uphill. They want to go home, but we've got their keys, and they will not be leaving our rehab center until they're driving a whole lot better than this.
When the 8 worst drivers in Canada proudly showed up here at our rehabilitation center 3 episodes ago, some of their most offensive driving habits were perfectly acceptable to them. Oh, enjoyable even. They'd bounce off obstacles, breaking bumpers, and then they'd grind to a paint-peeling halt up against some parked car, and they'd laugh about it. Slowly but surely, we are breaking them of that infuriating spirit, which is why we created this educational center. Here, we offer salvation and training for the worst drivers in the country, and we mean the worst.
Each episode, they are tested with 3 driving challenges. The driver who improves the most gets to go home.
2 students have already graduated. For the remaining 6, their pride has morphed into embarrassment.
Our candidates for Canada's Worst Driver were all nominated by you. Chris was pointed out by his wife, Michelle. David was nominated by his buddy, George. Madalena was put forward by her best friend, Jennifer. Manuel was singled out by his work colleague, Alex. Heather was nominated by her husband, Ernie. And Faith Ann was nominated by 4 people, including Joanne.
The joke is over. It's finally dawning on them that they really could be Canada's worst driver.
And me, I'm just an average driver. But I can do all these challenges easily.
Where's that buzz?
As always, to show just how simple they are, I drive all the courses first.
Reversing. You've seen other motorists do it. Maybe you've even tried it yourself. But when Canada's worst drivers look over their shoulder, all they see is trouble.
To teach the fine art of reversing, our team of designers is building a winding hallway of obstacles that Canada's worst drivers will have to reverse through in this full-size pickup truck.
So this is the all-reverse challenge.
First of all, we take it back through these sawhorses. Take a wide one to go through the garage. Whoosh. Right over the icy snow, being careful not to hit those pylons. Now we back through the 4 cars.
And into the hallway of hay bales.
Thread the needle on these 4 car ricks. Into the home garage.
And that's just how simple the reverse challenge is.
Watching every move the drivers make is our crack team of experts. Dr. Uzma Raymond is a behavioral psychologist.
Started it and you didn't get off on the right foot.
Scott Marshall instructs driving instructors.
You're telling yourself what doesn't work and you're just repeating the negative thoughts?
Jim Kenzie is a syndicated auto journalist.
You have the skills, you just have to choose to use them and use them wisely.
And Kelly Williams is a CASCAR race car driver.
You cannot steer a vehicle with the gear shift.
Worst driver nominee Chris got his license when he was a teenager, but then only drove 4 times in 13 years. Recently, he demonstrated his reversing skills to us by taking 47 minutes to back out of a simple dead end.
Nothing strange, nothing out of the ordinary, except the fact that I will be in that car trying to annoy the living hell out of you. Okay?
To keep his wife from grabbing the wheel or lashing out at her husband, we're giving Michelle something fragile to hold on to, namely a bowl of goldfish.
Let's annoy the hell out of him.
Remember what you're supposed to be doing, Chris.
I know.
Chris says he knows, but he don't know squat. It's a fiasco before he's even out of the gates.
Chris,
Yes,
you're a little bit caught up.
Chris is like an animal caught in a trap. He'd chew his own leg off to get out of here right now. Too many of our drivers do exactly what Chris just did. They line something up, they hit it, then they keep on going.
It's how you mirror, because I'm thinking you're not seeing very well from there. You're starting to get closer, getting closer, getting closer.
Last episode, Michelle was accused of being too hard on her husband. Today, she's trying to keep calm, but she's already put the goldfish on the floor.
You have to pay attention to both sides of the car.
Her frustration builds as Chris hits things on both sides of the truck at the same time.
Can you see out the mirrors, Chris? Have you been looking at your mirrors at all?
No.
Carnage, thy name is Chris.
Oh, what you hitting?
Crap.
Oh, there's a light missing. Just happened.
It's official. Chris can't go backwards. Unable to think for himself, he follows Michelle's exact directions. He does make it to the end of the course, but he doesn't really know how he did it.
I wouldn't do that with my Lexus, that's for sure, if I own one.
Reversing was just a nightmare.
Yeah, it was.
What happens is the anxiety takes over, and in that heightened state of anxiety, you can't see what you know anymore.
Faith Ann's up next. She's had 37 accidents, and she's okay with that.
I'm a bad driver compared to other people, but my bad driving is more of a sensible bad driving. Like, I have control of my bad driving, and I choose to be lackadaisical or not pay attention.
Wish you luck.
Oh!
Cracked her elbow on the back glass.
Instead of getting frustrated, Faith Ann gets serious. She squares up the truck, and she slips through the parked cars without a scratch.
Very good. Okay, that's showing some awareness on her part.
And even though she's hitting a few things, she's dealing with me very politely.
Can you go forward?
Back off? Sorry, no problem.
Good, new position. Okay, you know what? When she takes her time and thinks it through, she's doing a good job.
She's doing a good job, yeah.
Faith Ann's driving depends on her mood. When she's upset, she's hell on wheels. But today, she's sweet as pie.
High five. How's your fish?
Your fish is fine.
You didn't strike stuff? I never heard the sound of metal on metal once.
I don't remember any metal.
I'm impressed. You're driving like you want to graduate and get the hell out of here.
Manuel's next, and he is acing this course. But he's walking, not driving. Last episode, Manuel was told to stop overthinking everything. Unfortunately, that doesn't seem possible for him. He's like a sensitive computer. It crashes a lot.
I think I need to go in there.
He'll get flustered. I can imagine him getting flustered.
You're going down, Andrew. You're losing your front bumper right about now. Your front bumper. Settle down.
No,
Settle down, Manuel. You're starting to get a little bit flustered again.
Yeah, I am.
Want to hear the gossip? Alex hates it here, and he's been pressuring Manuel to drive better so they can go home. That extra pressure is obviously not helping.
This is turning out to be our worst one yet.
Oh, no, it is, because it's not easy, Alex. It's not being calm. This is a huge vehicle.
Yeah, but just take it easy.
Okay,
just
let me
be
take it
slow.
easy. Let me take it easy.
Manuel needs to reboot. When he sees the final gate, he makes a beeline for it. And it's luck, not skill, that holds the tower upright.
What the hell was that?
It's frustration is what it is.
Can we do this again?
Are we done?
No, we only have the budget for you to break everything once. We have really sucked this afternoon, so it's my fault. I was the one driving, he didn't have anything to do. I just have that to say.
Next, Madalena crosses a serious line.
This is page one stuff that you don't intentionally run into someone.
And Heather takes off her seatbelt.
I wasn't so smart.
Three of Canada's worst drivers have gone through our reversing challenge, and it's been total bedlam. Up next is Heather. Heather wants to become a better driver because her husband, Ernie, can't drive so much anymore. Problem is, when Heather drives like this, Ernie just about loses his mind in the passenger seat. To do well in our reversing challenge, Heather and Ernie are going to have to work together.
Now straighten it out. Whoa. I said straighten it out. Whoa.
Oh, my Lord.
Stop.
Okay, now what?
Ernie used to be a big rig truck driver. He doesn't even like to associate with people who drive like this.
She had that stuck underneath her vehicle and didn't even know it. Turn the wheels the other way. No.
Ernie wants to get out, but he's trapped. This communication breakdown has gone too far.
What the hell? I don't. Might as well keep going. You've hit everything else.
So he's not really helping her with that information. He's not telling her which way to turn the steering wheel.
Let me help you.
Okay.
To save his mind and his marriage, Ernie flees.
Well, she won't listen, and this is not a day for me to be riding with her because I'm just getting too damn upset. She won't listen.
I know Ernie gets upset with me when he is with me as a passenger, and it just makes me more tense.
Ernie wants to go home, but he can't abandon Heather. He gets back in the truck with the fish. Don't worry, they're fake. And he tries to negotiate.
Every time I tell you, you go the opposite damn way, and you keep doing the same thing over and over. So what are you going to do?
I'm going to see if I can get that way, right?
When we built this course, we had no idea that it would have such an emotional impact on Canada's worst drivers. There has been a lot of stressing and whining and fighting on this course, and now Heather and Ernie seem to be bonding.
Cut it the other way if your mirror's going to hit.
All
There
right.
she goes. All right.
Wow.
How was that for you, Heather?
I'm exhausted.
It was a long trip, hey?
Was it ever?
Would it have been a shorter trip if there'd been nobody in the passenger seat?
I don't know. Probably not. It probably would have been longer.
David's up next. David has some control issues. His problem is that he's happy to let his passenger be in control.
Turn the wheel, man. Turn the wheel where? This way? You think I should go in this one now? No, keep going on that one. Start to maneuver towards that in between, man. Look in your mirrors. Okay, you say so, man.
Sometimes relying on advice works for David, and sometimes it leads to this.
You gotta get closer to this side, that's all I have to say.
See, that's George's kind of advice. You gotta get your car like this. He doesn't tell him how to do it or how to help or what.
Your angle is just absolutely horrid. Dave, you gotta do an S, man. Why are you going that way? Back up straight. That's not straight.
David is growing tired of being given bad advice and worse criticism. He finally stands up for himself.
Give me credit where it is. Where credit is. You don't deserve credit on this course, Dave. George, you don't. Not on this course. Then get out the car, man. Don't say nothing. Don't say shit then.
Good for David.
Yeah.
Here we go. Now David is making sense. His passenger's giving him a hard time. He threatened to kick him out.
You got tons of space on my side. Tons of space? Tons of space. So just watch your side. My side is good.
You know, his spatial awareness has improved a lot.
Yeah.
This is the thing that David is learning. Inch by inch driving, while frustrating and humbling, is the only safe way out of these jams.
Woohoo! 5. Good job.
You just aced that thing, man. I said to Andrew, he says, boy, he really looks confident. And he didn't look confident up close. The beads were on the forehead. But you took control of that exercise. And you said to George, what was your name again? And you just put your head back there and you just whooped through that thing. It was a thing of beauty. It was a huge improvement.
Madeleine is up next. When she got to the driver rehabilitation center, she didn't know how to reverse properly.
Now, the best thing when you're backing up, don't stop the car, because we don't want to stop, is look out the back window. Okay. And we don't need a lot of gas when you're backing up.
I feel like a man.
You feel like a man?
With my arm across the seat like this.
That's a sexist comment.
I don't know. I think that's how guys back up. They're always like...
You know, it's actually how drivers back up.
Oh.
Okay?
The whole thing is for the water, so just go slow as you can. And you're making me spill the water!
The goldfish are caught in a hurricane, and Madalena is caught on the first obstacle coming out of the gate.
Oh man, it's the water in my crotch.
After 12 minutes, Madalena gives up on steering her way through.
Okay, the frustration's kicking in now.
Remember, I'm playing a mind game with our drivers today by constantly getting too close. Most of our students have been polite about it.
You know how much room
Go this way. Okay, can you just back up, please?
Not Madalena.
Hey, I'm in this car.
Well, Andrew, you're gonna get your car hit if you put it there.
Madalena has an awesome sense of entitlement. To her, hitting me really is acceptable driving.
She's getting herself into a little bit of a jam right now.
Madalena has stopped looking over her shoulder, and she's stopped using her mirrors. She wants this to be over at any cost.
All you did was create damage and mayhem.
When I explain to Madalena that it's unacceptable for her to run into my car, she tells me that I should have told her that before we started.
State the rules at the beginning of the experiment or do it after. You can't debrief someone after something and say, you should have did this way. Because when I do it that way, you say I'm not doing it right. So I'm not learning anything. I learned all. Honest to God, I really do learn all from you guys.
If there's somebody that you have eye contact with who's in your way, you tell them physically with your hand or get out of the car or somehow to back off. You do not run into them. It's very simple. This is page 1 stuff that you don't intentionally run into someone.
Thank you. God damn. You're so
Can you see out the mirrors, Chris?
Who knew that reversing could make grown adults break down? It's a good thing we have a psychologist on staff. Bad drivers are often asked, "What are you, blind?" Good drivers not only look at where they're going, they see well into the future, determining what moves they'll make once they get there. Our next challenge will dramatically intensify the need for good visualization and communication, because the driver will be in the passenger seat and the person behind the wheel will be as blind as a bat. All right, we're about to do the blindfold challenge. Heather will be actually touching the wheel, but I will be driving from the passenger seat. It should be quite the ride. The course begins with a gentle slalom between pedestrians. Keep on going, slow down. Then it's a simple straight line. Just don't veer off a centimeter or things will start to topple. Go forward, go forward, go forward, go forward, go forward, and put it in reverse. We're gonna back into the driveway. That's right, you're doing the exact right thing. Keep on doing that, keep on doing it, keep on doing it. Now stop, and we're in.
Wow.
Piece of cake.
Right on.
And that is how you do the blindfold challenge.
Am I in park?
You're in park, yep. First up is Heather. Ernie has promised not to get mad during this challenge.
Seem pretty straightforward to you?
Yeah, it will if we're not blindfolded or something. Make it tighter, it's loose. Ow, not that tight.
The purpose of this challenge is to show that vehicle handling is all in your mind. It's a thought process. Think of what the car needs to do, then do it. She's not behind the wheel, but Heather is in total control.
Okay, no, stop. Go to your right.
This is my right.
Now to your left. Oh, no, stop. Okay, I wasn't so smart.
Ernie promised not to get mad, but he's struggling with it.
Okay, try again.
Yeah. Okay, keep going. A little bit. Right there.
There she goes, all right.
When she backs into the final chute, Heather leaps out of the car and runs away, leaving her husband in the dark. It's been tough on Ernie, but his relentless sighing and complaining has been tougher on Heather.
I guess maybe I should have someone else sitting beside me rather than him. And he knows that. He knows that because when he tries, it just frustrates me more.
Alex and Manuel carry on like a married couple, but they're really only work colleagues. Manuel's wife is home in Calgary, driving their thrilled children around.
My kids normally are with me, and when they go with me, it's basically because they have no other choice to go anywhere. If mom is here, if mom is coming in 15 minutes, they will wait 15 minutes to not go with me.
Manuel can communicate in 6 languages. Automobile is not one of them.
Straight, a little bit to the right.
Sorry.
To the right a little bit. There you go. Is that to the left?
No, the other way.
Driving is all about angles. Get the angle right and you'll slide through the gaps. Get it wrong and you'll hit things on both sides at once.
Where were you on that one?
I am just, look, I cannot sense the car. Go to the left a little bit.
Every crash depresses Alex. It's the sound of not going home.
Now, we have a challenge here. We have to turn. It's like do the 3-point turn, do you remember?
Yeah.
We have to do that curve. Come to Papa. Come to Papa. Stop. Very good job, other than the destruction that we caused over there. So.
How much destruction did we cause?
So right here.
Yeah.
We destroyed that one over there.
Okay.
We also brought down those the wheels over there.
Okay.
We also brought down those boards and those boards over here. I think we're improving. We're very happy.
We considered putting a long straightaway on this course to see how our pupils would handle going fast. It's a good thing we didn't do that. They can't even go slow.
Hidden somewhere here, deep within the bowels of the Drivers Rehabilitation Centre, is a team of experts watching every move that Canada's worst drivers make. At the end of every episode, if they see enough improvement in one driver, they will allow me to graduate that person back onto public roads. If no one is considered safe enough to be released, no one will go home. And we mean it.
The blindfold challenge is underway, and as usual, obstacles are under the car. When will our drivers see the light? So far, Heather steered Ernie wrong, and Manuel led Alex down the garden path to Clanksville. Next up, Chris and his wife, Michelle. Even blindfolded, Michelle can see more than Chris.
Keep going. All right, here's stuff on the other side, Chris. You watch it? Perhaps not?
Clearly, the blind leading the blind. Ever since day one, our experts have been concerned that David relies too much on his buddy George.
Turn left.
Left? Ooh. With George blindfolded, David is worse than ever.
You have a lot of room. Yep, go straight.
David's run is a comedy of errors in tragic proportions. Handling is not his strong suit.
Okay, that's it.
That's it?
Yeah.
Next up, Faith Ann and Joanne. On this course, being vague leads to disaster.
A little towards me, half the circle to me.
So Faith Ann is precise.
Nope, don't move your wheel.
She sets this stack of rims back down as if they were precious china.
Those are pretty tight. Okay, she might make it. She might make it. Keep going. Okay, stop. All right. Whew. Wow. All right, now.
When she first got here, Faith Ann enjoyed showing off her devil-may-care tough side. Now that she wants to graduate, she's showing off her defensive skills.
Especially impressive is the two sets of the stacks of rims at the very end, and you slowly just nudge them aside. Every now and then they do the Leaning Tower of Pisa trick, but they never went down. They never crashed, and it was kind of amazing to watch, actually. You pulled off the impossible.
Next up, Madalena and Jennifer. In the reversing challenge, Madalena got upset with me because I didn't tell her that she wasn't supposed to hit things until after it was over. So this time, I've already been perfectly blunt with her. Don't hit things, I said. I hope she gets the point.
This way, so a little bit. Wait, what? The left. It's this way, I can't even see. Guys, see.
With Madalena, though, hitting things is unavoidable.
Stop, stop.
Where are me go? Which way?
Ow!
Going straight isn't going well at all.
Okay, okay, so you're gonna hit a pole, so gotta go over here. So you gotta, okay, you gotta go to the right a little bit.
She's getting there. She's getting, you know, when she's starting to get a little bit more control of the vehicle.
Going backwards into the final chute, Madalena refines her instructions, and everything works.
We're done. Shut up.
Madalena learned something, and Jennifer's surprised. This car has a flat tire. Everything needed to fix that flat is right here in the trunk. Will Canada's worst drivers know what to do with these tools? We're about to find out. Everyone should know how to change a flat tire, so here's the rundown. You've got to take off the wheel nuts, lift up the car, trade out the wheel, hand fasten the nuts, lower the car, put the nuts back on, done. Should take about 6 minutes.
We see a car with a flat tire.
Oh, flat tire.
She has a metal plate in her leg.
I can't squat, I can't kneel, and I can't do that. For my last car accident, my whole dashboard went into my front leg.
How are your skills?
Hopefully we can call CAA to help us change.
Oh my God!
Very good.
Those are pretty.
Very good. Very good.
Ew.
Very good, we're there.
Very good. Now, Remember, the first thing they should do is unscrew the wheel nuts. But Canada's worst drivers all go straight for the jack.
Yes, I have to read.
Place jack underneath.
The reinforced area. What the hell does that mean?
The location where this goes is where I'm not pretty sure.
As usual, David is relying on his buddy George to do the dirty work.
You gonna watch this, David, or are you gonna get in there?
I'm gonna get in there soon.
You shouldn't jack the car up first because you don't want the vehicle to be in a precarious suspended position when you're trying to loosen the wheel nuts.
Wonder Woman.
I don't know how to work this.
Unaware of the danger they're creating, everyone happily jacks.
Whoops. Uh-oh. What happened? You're doing a good job. You're getting it up.
Get more. Just push. I don't understand. Who does this? Jenna.
With the car perched on a rickety little jack, Canada's worst drivers start throwing their weight around.
How does it go lefty loosey, righty tighty?
Mad.
You sure it's left? Righty, tighty, lefty, loosey. I know that.
Stop with your nuts.
Thank you, dear.
Luckily, everyone safely gets the flat tire off.
Couldn't you just pump it back up with air? Like with an air pump instead of taking it off?
With the spare tire on and the nuts retightened, it's time to end this madness.
You done?
I guess so. Well, besides putting the tools away. Oh, hey, I gotta unjack the car. That would help.
Damn it.
It isn't perfect, but every team gets the job done.
There we go.
I have a feeling of pride inside of me for having done this. Thank you.
You passed with flying colors, Dave.
Thank you.
Thank you, George. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yay. Your dad will be very proud of you.
Not that difficult. I'm a hands-on kind of a guy.
All done.
Up next, we're kicking it into high gear with our stick shift challenge. When the smoke from the burning clutch clears, it'll be time for our experts to select which student will graduate.
It used to be that you drove the car. You changed the gears. You were an integral working part of the machine. Then along came automatic transmission, which basically turned cars into giant go-karts with just 2 pedals. Stop, start, that's it. Now, any idiot can operate a moving vehicle, which might help explain why our driving skills are so bad. We thought it was high time we turned the clock back to the clutch-burning days of yesteryear. The next challenge for Canada's worst driver? Stopping and starting a manual 5-speed stick-shift sedan on a cheeky little hill. Not every idiot can do that.
The purpose of this challenge is to teach clutch control. To make this challenge a little bit more doable for our students, Scott is in the car with them. The students are going to have to ride the clutch right here. They're allowed to use the brake to get to this stop point, but once they stop, they have to just use the friction of the clutch to hold them on the hill. As they approach up the hill, an annoying little car is going to be doing a slow 3-point turn right in front of them. Once again, ride the clutch. Don't stall and make the car stop. No brakes allowed. And that's just the first part. For the second half of the challenge, Canada's worst drivers will have to do the same thing while stuck between a tailgater and a truck. 4 out of 6 of our drivers have never driven a standard before. So, to keep the tears to a minimum, our instructor Scott Marshall is giving lessons in clutch control. As you'd expect, most of them are fine once they get going, but taking off usually involves a little hiccup. First up is Chris. He understands the instructions, he gives the car some gas, he eases up on the clutch, and he's off. Skill or beginner's luck? Well, he makes it past the flagman with barely a stutter. Near the top, though, he stalls and can't get started again. He can't hold his ground either. Here comes stall number 5, 6, 7. Chris drifts backwards all the way down the hill. On his 11th attempt, he finally gets his butt in gear.
Stay with the gas.
I can change gears while we're moving. It's the stopping and starting that's the problem.
Let's see how he does with the truck in front of him.
All right, so I'm gonna put it in the first, and then. Uh-oh.
Michelle should have worn her neck brace. At every lurch, she flails and snaps like a rag doll.
Whoa.
To put it literally, Chris's driving stinks.
I know exactly what burning clutch smells like, and it's something that I don't ever want to smell very often, frankly. That was nasty. Very nasty.
Faith Ann has driven into a few manual cars, but she's never driven one herself. She's not driving this one either. She's stalling it and smoking the clutch. With good driving, a clutch should easily last 20 years, but a bad driver can grind one to dust in a few rambunctious hours.
You just have to remember it's the pivoting, and it's very gradual.
When Joanne gets in with her, Faith Ann predicts failure.
Don't think you can't do it. Think you can.
I just proved I couldn't do it.
Proving herself wrong, Faith Ann succeeds.
You're doing good. You're doing just fine.
She stalls once, but comes out of it just fine. It's a near-perfect run.
Well, she didn't do badly for somebody who's never done it before.
No, she didn't actually.
Yeah.
People do it. I mean, it's possible. I should learn, I guess. But I wouldn't buy one, that's for sure.
Car lovers, brace yourself. Madalena is about to explain how she shifts gears in her mother's car.
1 5 1 5 1 5.
Okay. Yeah, you're gonna kill the car.
Madalena's clutch control is good, but the car is sluggish and squealing.
Does that feel weird? Yeah, standards always have to have the parking brake on. Yes. Gentle, you're revving over 4,000 RPM.
Which is double the amount of revs she should be giving it. Madalena drives her mother's standard car all the time. No wonder she gets into more accidents than she can count. With the lovely scent of burning clutch in the air, Jennifer gets in and things really rev up.
Is that you or them?
Oh, she gets hit.
Hopefully when she's in her mother's car, Madalena avoids hills.
Reek sister, man.
That's the smell of bad driving.
I'm a better standard driver than I am automatic.
I wouldn't make that conclusion based on what we just saw.
I will get you from A to B, but not without a little smoke and a little smell.
Clutch control is out of control.
You never rev it that fast. Okay. Ever.
Who amongst this motley crew is ready to graduate and get their keys back? I could never be a driving instructor. It takes too much patience. Teaching David to drive standard would drive me over the brink.
Clutch and gas work as a pivot. So if you're on the clutch, you're off the gas.
Okay.
And when you go on the gas, you gently come off the clutch. But you never rev it that fast.
Okay.
Ever.
Our driving instructor, Scott Marshall, keeps his cool. And after a while, a long while, he talks David into a smooth takeoff.
You had it there.
Yeah.
You had it there. Steer left. That's it. Good. Hey, you got it.
Yeah.
Good.
On the hill, David stops and starts without a problem.
Hey, you can drive standard.
Yeah.
Come over here.
Oh, shit, there's somebody behind you. I knew this was gonna be a challenge. I knew it.
Oh, man.
Brake, man. I am braking.
David is tapping bumpers and bouncing nervously, but he's finished before George has a chance to start giving bad advice.
I think I did okay. It wasn't bad. I want to do more of it.
I think the thing that we discussed is that you actually took ownership of yourself. You became the commander of your vessel when you were driving that vehicle. And that's what we weren't seeing from you at the beginning. You were just like, oh yeah, my passenger told me this. I mean, you just totally, you weren't taking control or ownership of it. And so it was so like, wow.
In terms of driving manual, I think I want to improve my driving on the automatic before going on to manual, right? So.
Okay.
On the ice.
No, I got it on the ice.
Trust me, there was no recreational pharmaceuticals consumed prior to this activity. This is authentic Manuel you're seeing here. I've had to put up with this for 3.5 years. I'm done.
Manuel wears his heart on his sleeve. When he's nervous, he's almost imploding. Today, he's brimming with confidence because he drives a standard in Calgary. For Manuel, this challenge is finally a chance to look good. And sure enough, he drives the course perfectly. This is the moment that Alex has been waiting for, but he's highly unappreciative.
And there's this guy who was looking for a job as a driver. And he interviewed a bunch of people. I either pull over and let the people go, or it's a very challenging exercise. Well, I think that for me, stick is a macho thing.
If that's true, Manuel is the most macho guy here.
Okay, yes.
Heather has pretty much reached her maximum stress level for the day. She had a spat with Ernie in the reversing challenge. She kissed the windshield in the blindfold challenge. And now, she's about to find out that her next challenge is something she's intentionally avoided all her life.
Are you eager to learn?
Yeah.
We're going to learn standard.
Oh, no. I'm not doing that.
She just realized she's in a standard?
She's in a standard, yeah. And
So there's first gear. Okay, so clutch in. I'm just going to take the handbrake off.
But Heather is a trooper, and on her very first attempt, she does it.
Look at that. Good. Yeah, clutch in. Put on the gas, clutch in. Second.
At the first stop, however,
this isn't the clutch.
Everything falls apart.
So gas, gas, stay on the gas, stay on the gas.
After a certain point, gas, gas, more gas, stay on the gas sounds like mumbo jumbo. When Heather makes it to the car in the road, she's shaking like a leaf.
And just maybe off gas a bit, off gas a bit. Clutch in, clutch in, clutch in, clutch in. Remember, the moment you feel a vibration, it's clutch in.
To drive a standard, all four of your limbs have to be able to do very exact, independent tasks at the same time. At Heather's age, her dexterity and feel simply aren't as sharp as they used to be.
This is a person who should always drive an automatic or spend a lot of hours learning how to drive standard.
With Ernie now beside her, Heather's in tears. It's not good. The executive producer of the show steps in to remind her that it's all right to quit.
Heather, you don't have to do this. You don't want to do this, and nobody's forcing you to do it.
Are you willing to drive?
Yeah. I promise this time I'll try to help you without getting upset.
Heather and Ernie have been married for 22 years. They're not quitters.
Put on the clutch, push it in. Okay, now go. Right off the gas, let it. You killed it.
Yeah.
Heather hits the car behind her once, and she stalls once.
She's not doing that badly.
But with Ernie's advice and her own iron will, she is a nurse, don't forget. Heather is able to rise to the top of the hill and receive a spontaneous round of applause from the crew.
You did it! You did it!
Woo! You did great, Heather.
Just too much with this morning and then now.
You did okay there. Don't worry about it, okay?
Yeah.
Heather came to the driver rehab center as a favor to her family. And already, her family is stronger. All of our students hold a valid driver's license.
You go to the left.
We can't keep them here forever. Someone is about to drive home.
So I guess the oddity of this week is, up until this point, we were making constant progress. And then this week, they just went off like a cloud of Roman firecrackers. It was nuts. And I'll tell you what it came down to was emotion. People's emotions just boiled over. Their moods swung. Happy people got sad, sad people got happy, and there was really no rhyme or reason to it.
Well, there were a couple of highlights. One is in the reversing exercise. David became confident. He got that. He went through it really well. He did what he had to do. He was turning around. He was looking where he was going. I don't think his navigator was doing him any help whatsoever, but he seemed to have a vague idea of where he was going. So if you look at that one reversing exercise and compare where he was 2 episodes ago, David has made a huge leap.
I would suggest that there weren't many highlights in the reversing, but there was a lot of lowlights.
Yeah.
Holy smokes, Manuel came unglued.
Yeah, and that's a trait that we've seen consistently with him throughout the weeks, is that he'll be okay. He has moments of gloriousness, you know, he does really well, but if he gets frustrated, he basically says, screw this, and just totally comes unglued.
I like what Faith Ann did. Faith Ann decided, oh, I can't make it. I'm going to pull forward and reposition my vehicle. Tucking in the mirrors, smart. And I said that in the last episode, she is intelligent. She just has to understand risk. You know what? On the reversing, she understood risk.
There was a wonderfully emotional moment when Heather actually executed the clutch maneuver relatively well, and the crew just spontaneously broke into applause, and you could see her, I mean, even at the end of that, she was still pretty emotional. But again, you feel sorry for her because she's being put into a situation which is totally unfamiliar for her.
It's the beautiful moment from this episode, is her overcoming that, because it's a true triumph of the will. This is our conundrum now. Who's it going to be? I guess we got to lock ourselves into a small room and fight it out.
We started with 8 drivers, and now we're down to 6. Who is about to graduate back into the flow of life's normal traffic, and who is Canada's worst driver?
It's been an emotional 4th week here at the Drivers Rehabilitation Centre. Horror, tears, shock, exhilaration, happiness. We've seen it all. Now, the experts tell us to leave our emotions outside the vehicle. But Canada's worst drivers are a passionate group. It just comes with the territory. Manuel, on the reverse challenge course, you had a total meltdown. You just came unglued. You caused total devastation, and I'm sorry, but you're just too smart for that. You've got to keep it under check, Manuel. Madalena, on the exact same course, you became infuriated, and then you struck my vehicle 6 times with yours. 6 times. And then you yelled at me. This has to stop, Madalena, okay? You can't hit other people's cars. Please? Yeah? Thanks. And Heather, your emotions almost got the best of you, but when it came right down to the clutch, you got over perhaps the hardest hill of your life, and you did it in a 5-speed manual transmission car fueled by pure gusto. And we're so proud of that. Thank you. Congratulations. Throughout all the stresses and mood swings of this episode, though, one person kept her cool in every situation. She got around almost every obstacle we put in front of her, and more important than that, she actually showed real remorse for past moving violations. So this week, she's going to graduate. You thought I stepped past you then, didn't you? Maybe. Faith Ann, we're giving you back your keys.
Thank you.
And we know that you've caused dozens of accidents in your life, but we believe that you do drive well, and you can drive well when you want to. So if we have a parting message for you, it's this. Please, stop being so foolish. You'll live longer.
No problem.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Enjoy your graduated life. You're free to go.
Faith Ann arrived like she was indestructible.
You almost killed us.
She was unapologetic and easily enraged.
This is gonna me right.
But in this episode, we saw none of that. She reversed our big truck with the ease of an old farmer.
Beautiful.
In blind trust, she was the calmest, smartest driver on the course. And in clutch control, she overcame self-doubt and succeeded. Faith Ann, congratulations. You are not Canada's worst driver.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say I'm very happy that I am not Canada's worst driver, and I'm sure my friends and family will be very happy to know that too. But other than that, I had a good time, and I enjoyed learning all the things I didn't know from before, like stick, and I thought it was a good time. It was good. It was good for me to come here and see how other people drive and how I drive.
On the next episode of Canada's Worst Driver,
I killed the people.
Progress stalls.
Well, that was pure and utter failure.
They get like so many negative points there.
If I can graduate, I swear to God, I'll get a bus pass and I'll never drive again.